All right. How to breathe properly. So when I'm going throughout my day, I notice sometimes I tend to get on the subject of breathing with people who aren't associated with Neigong yoga or any like wellness practices, but sometimes they just for some reason we get on that subject where they need some advice on how they can oxygenate themselves a little more than what they currently are able to. So basically, it's the key is breathing, right? Oxygenating the body properly. Breathing properly will help with this. That's just in general life, but also when in relation to Neigong, when you breathe, this has a effect on helping to cultivate Qi and Dantian, and the Dantian when done correctly. So we can go over a brief exercise on how to breathe properly. Um, so for this, you don't really need to see my face. More so, the torso is what's most important. Want to turn sideways just so we can get a good view of what's happening here. So we're gonna start with our left hand and we're gonna put it on the lower abdomen. And then we're gonna take our right hand and we're gonna put it in the center of the chest, right? All right, so the placement of the hands have no specific purpose other than to show us that we are breathing incorrectly and what should be happening when we are breathing correctly, all right? So initially, when people are breathing, they breathe with the chest. So they will breathe in a way that the lower hand wouldn't move, but the upper hand would. For demo purposes, they will breathe like this. This is how the typical American or the typical adult would breathe. Now, for someone who's in wellness practices, they become more so when you're unconscious of your breathing, it'll be up here. When people start to become conscious of their breathing, it starts to move down here. So how we want how we want to breathe, or even if you look at a baby, how we are first born when we breathe, it's like this. So initially it's a more forceful method of breathing. It isn't as simple as just taking such a shallow breath to the chest, but it helps to oxygenate the body. It strengthens the abdominal muscles. I would imagine it has a lot of benefits for the lower abdominal area in general, for the organs. I would imagine that the motion of the out and in of the abdomen is helping to massage the internal organs located in that general area. So initially, when you start trying to breathe to that area, you'll even when you try to force it down. So when you try to force it down here, you might get a whole torso expansion, but that's not what we want either. We want for the pressure to move from here and to 100% move to down here below the belly button. So my thumb is on my belly button, but the rest of my palm is below the belly button. And we literally just want that's really what we want. So honestly, if you can work on your breathing using your hands as a training tool, so or like a training wheel, but use your hands as a training tool to see if you're using the correct muscles. Because I was showing a coworker that a couple days ago, and she put her hand on here, and then she put one hand down there, and she's looking at me as she's doing it. She's not looking down, and she's trying to breathe to the lower belly. She's like, "Oh, I'm doing it." And I'm looking, I'm like, "No, only your chest is moving." So even though you might feel like a little trickle of air go down there, that's not the whole of the breath that's traveling down there. So it takes some work when you're, so a newborn baby up to maybe the age of like 5 or so, they do lower abdominal breathing. That's what this is called when you're breathing to the lower abdomen. They do lower abdominal breathing. As you get older, at some point, for some reason, the breath moves up to the chest when we start living a more stressful or when we start experiencing life in a more stressful way. So when you're stress free, typically the breath is naturally down there. So when you're first born, you're stress free. There's no stress, right? A kid, there's no stress, right? But for some reason, once we become more stressed, the breathing starts to move up here. Even like if someone, it gets angry or something, what does the breath do? It moves up here. So we want to become more conscious of, our emotions, our breathing in general. Even though breathing is a unconscious action, you want to become conscious of it. Let's move it from here to there, right? So making breathing just a more conscious action in our daily life, and this will make you a more conscious person in general, in my opinion. But yeah, I just wanted to go over that method of breathing properly into the lower abdomen. This is a general way of breathing through a lot of wellness practices: yoga, meditation, Neigong, Tai Chi, Qigong, like whatever you can really think of. This is the most common method of breathing that is supposed to be utilized. Now, whether people do it correctly or not, that's another story. But when you're doing it correctly, you will know. You just feel better in general. The body becomes more oxygenated. The air and the oxygen is reaching throughout the body more easily and more efficiently. All right. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. How to breathe properly. All right. See you guys in the next one.